Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anyone have any items they'd like to be removed from the consent agenda? No. Okay. All right. Moving on to special activities, we have Major Steve Harris-Smith from the Warren County Drug Task Force. Steve, nice to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to be here again. It's that time of year again. I've distributed our annual report. Hopefully you can take a few minutes to flip through that as usual. It's not full of great news, but I want you guys to know we're out there doing what we do every year. So I'm here to, in addition to handing out the annual report, here to say thank you again to this board of trustees and the citizens of Clearfield Township, the police department, the chief who serves on our policy board, for all that you do to support us every year. You guys have been our partners for a long time, and we greatly appreciate that. So I'd like to touch on just a couple of things quickly that are in the report, and then be glad to take any questions that you may have. The overall structure of the Warren County Drug Task Force remained the same in 2019. We're still a multi-jurisdictional drug task force. Probably nothing new in that the initial pages of that report to you folks here. We are a HIDA initiative. That designation remained. If you recall from last year, the HIDA designation is a federal program that requires the collaboration of federal, state, and local law enforcement. Basically, a program that provides funding and it pushes us all together under one roof, combines our resources, gives us all the same mission of targeting drug trafficking offenses throughout a certain area. We continue to operate in all of Warren County and the city of Wilmington over in Clinton County. Pretty significant nexus between the city of Wilmington and State Route 73, as you know, all the way into our county and Franklin area and Middletown as well. So it's kind of a hot area to travel there in the drug trafficking world. The multi-jurisdictional concept is still definitely, hands down, the most efficient way to target drug traffickers and drug trafficking offenses. Everybody knows that drug traffickers don't stay put in one jurisdiction. That's more true now than ever as our source cities continue to be Dayton and Cincinnati, primarily Dayton up in this part of our county. Drug traffickers are more fluid now than they've ever been. So they're in and out, they're through everybody's backyard all day, every day, becoming more and more challenging for us to work, but we're still out there doing what we do. So the multi-jurisdictional concept, force multiplier for all of us. There's not a single law enforcement agency in our county who could put this type of resources towards full-time drug trafficking investigations. So it really works for our jurisdiction. In 2019, we still have the policy board as the drug task force commander. I report to the policy board. Chief Terrell is one of my many bosses. He's there every month. We have a policy board meeting where we go over drug task force activities. They're given an investigative briefing so everybody knows what's going on throughout the county, cases that we're working. Some of our investigations will go for a year, some 2 years. Some are quick and over in 30 days. Some are over in 1 day. It just depends. But most of the time they are lengthy investigations that take some time. So the policy board provides oversight, input, and direction. So if there's something that Chief Terrell needs addressed in this township, obviously he calls me anytime he needs me, but if we want to redirect resources, we can do that during the policy board meetings. 2019, our staffing was at 23 personnel from 12 law enforcement agencies. So Sheriff's Office personnel, Prosecutor's Office provides an investigator. We have detectives from the Lebanon, Springboro, Franklin, Wilmington, and Monroe police departments, all assigned people to us. We have a special agent from Ohio VCI, and we have an agent from DEA and an agent from FBI assigned to us as well. Our uniform interdiction team, that was in our report last year as well. The Highway Patrol has been with us for quite a few years now. They provide a uniform interdiction team and 4 canine units that are patrolling a lot of Southwest Ohio, but they work out of our office. They're assigned to our task force, so we get a lot of attention here in Warren County. Great group of troopers. Support staff in 2019, we have an investigative assistant, property room manager, takes care of us there at our shop. We also have an Ohio National Guard intelligence analyst assigned to us as well. So investigations overall for 2019, our detective staff had 479 investigations, drug tips, cases. New cases coming out of our uniform interdiction staff, there was 314 of those. They made 2,008 traffic stops and deployed their canines 288 times. We had 308 felony arrests, 149 misdemeanor arrests, seized 56 guns, and executed 66 search warrants. So overall drug seizures during 2019, we were talking before the meeting started, crystal methamphetamine is still our primary drug threat. We've got methamphetamine all over, unfortunately, coming out of those two major sources, ultimately coming up from the southwest border still. It's keeping us plenty busy. Task force seizures, I mentioned this last year. There are 42 multi-jurisdictional drug task forces in Ohio that are funded out of Columbus. We are required to submit our drug seizures every week to Columbus, so it gives us an idea what's going on around the state. Warren County, we were first in the state of Ohio with the highest amount of prescription opiate drug seizures. We were third for overall prescription drug seizures. We were first in the state of Ohio, highest number of LSD seizures in 2019. LSD, there was quite a spike in LSD last year. Methamphetamine, as I said, that's our primary drug right now. We were 11th in the state for that one. Heroin, fentanyl, 7th highest in the state of Ohio. So, the geographical location of Warren County, those two major cities, unfortunately, we're probably never going to run out of things to do, so we continue to address it every day the best that we can. Funding remains inconsistent, unpredictable. Nothing has really changed with that from last year's report. We're funded by grant dollars, the HIDA program, the generosity of our county commissioners, Clear Creek Township, all the townships, most of the villages, most of the cities either provide a full-time body to our unit or a financial contribution. We just couldn't operate without the partnership with our community, so thank you again for that. That's all I've got. Hope I didn't take up too much time. Glad to take any questions, and thank you again. We don't take for granted what you folks do for us every year. The contribution to our unit, we can't operate without it, so thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions for the major?
No, good. I appreciate your guys' help. You're right, we couldn't fund that, we couldn't field that kind of task force or that amount of people to go after stuff, so it's a great resource for me as a chief to be able to address that and not cost our jurisdiction a fortune to try to do it, so it's certainly a two-way street, so.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Major. Have a good day.
You too.
Russ, have the fiscal officer's report.
Happily, I have nothing for you today, sir.
Public comment? Yeah, Steve has something he wants to bring up, or I'll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Steve, last week, we had these flyers up here for us, Ohio Safe Haven for newborns. And interesting concept for sure. Also interesting as I went online and looked it up and watched their videos and looking like you guys did that. It's certainly something that's kind of growing. There's not a lot of them around, but is it something that we want to consider? I don't know. I called down to Children's Services and asked them about it, and they said, we don't know anything about it, not much, very little. And I actually, I thought, they thought they would bring it up at one of their meetings sometime soon and see what they think. They do have blocked off there and we get something around. Is it something we want to do in Fairview Township? Something to talk about for sure. It's not a huge investment. It's something that's affordable for us. I mean, we could afford this, I think, if we wanted to. This responsibility will come back to Steve and his group. Did you have one of these files to see this or familiar with it?
Yeah, the Defiance Fire Department is one in Ohio that they currently have. When you, Steve sent me something a while back, I did a little bit of research on it. So I reached out to their chief and we had some dialogue. The way it happened in their town was they had a civic group. I think it's a group made up of females. I can't remember what the name of it was, but they essentially funded it. And the original cost of the box was $10,000. And then there's a monthly monitoring fee, like anything for alarm. You know, it's got to be alarmed. The Ohio Department of Health is the regulatory agency, so they ultimately certify the initial installation, and then there's a 3-year reinspection that needs to occur, and then there's a fee with that, but it's not too expensive. So the state law says you can surrender a child to any fire department, uniformed police officer, or emergency room. So you know, there are options out there for doing that, but some of the, I don't have the paperwork that chief had sent me everything that they had, but I don't have it with me right now. That's kind of the 30,000-foot view.
How big of an issue would it be for just logistically putting that in your station?
Right now, I don't know exactly where we would put it. However, there's some discussion about we've kind of outgrown our station. You know, we're busting at the seams about doing some remodeling. So if we could insert it into a project like that into the future, it would certainly be less intrusive because you actually have to hire a certified contractor that's specifically certified to install these. So you know that's again with additional certifications you're going to pay more. But if you're doing it as an already ongoing construction project, it would be a little bit easier to implement.
Put it in the northeast office.
I looked into as you guys know, my wife lives in this world and delivers babies every day and runs the unit that does that at our closest hospital. She's got a lot of data and information about this. She's very aware of it. She walked me through the processes, used the word incubator, for lack of a better term, as to what it really functions as for the child. She lives in a world of frustration where people don't believe they can surrender their child at the hospital, and they can. This is obviously a more anonymous way of doing it, but certainly something that is gaining more national attention as the program grows. She did mention OVH as well as being the governing body of it. And she talked about the reaction time. I guess it has to be within a minute
60 seconds.
Of placement, right?
Yeah, essentially once the door's open and a local alarm will sound, if no one locally acknowledges that alarm, then an alarm will be sent to an alarm company, just like any other fire alarm or burglar alarm. And then there would be a process in place to be able to get someone to that child in a certain time.
So in that vein, my question to you would be, staffing-wise, in that building, obviously the main house would be the most logical place. Where does that put you staffing-wise? Do we ever have a moment where we're empty, where everybody's out?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we're staffed 24/7,
Right,
but
right.
there are, occasions where all the crews are out on calls and the building is not currently occupied.
Did the Defiance chief address that with you? Did he discuss?
He said they have a callback system in place where, like, the alarm company would have, essentially when you get an alarm now, there was like a list of key holders to get in a business, some kind of a burglary alarm. And it's after hours, and there's a list that they go down that they call, and then someone will respond to the residents to meet law enforcement, or if there's a fire alarm, the fire department kind of go along those lines. So they've got something like that set up.
I certainly see value in it. I mean, the interesting piece to me would be where we are, you just spoke about it, between Cincinnati.
Is there anyone else doing this? Is there anyone else talking about doing it?
Yeah, I think this would be a service for the north third of Warren County. And we don't necessarily have to be the 100% funder of it, because people in Franklin Township or Wayne Township could benefit from it.
Sure.
And I think we'd want to maybe make it very visible to the schools. And if something like this would have been part of the health curriculum at Carlisle High School or something like that, certainly the city would have possible interest in having something like this. But I wanted to throw out there, I think we spend a lot of money on a lot of different things, and this isn't a ton of money, and if it could save one baby.
Yeah, certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we might want to take it a couple steps farther, and this would say, for example, see if Springboro would want to participate. I bet we can get them to do that to some level. And if we want to go to Wayne Township or wherever else.
Or open up a group that, a civic group that would want to have a purpose or a cause. Here's something that would be very beneficial.
We can do that. You guys, you want to have Matt reach out to the city to start with?
Would think to reach out to Chris and
See what he
Reach out
has
to
to say.
Chris, you guys, and see if there's any mutual interest.
And then, there are organizations around town that, there's one for sure that has lots, that have funds. The Eagles donate a lot of money every year, and I'm not a member there, but they look for ways to figure out what to do with their money. And they've been very generous and other things throughout the city. This might be something they'd like to just take care of and adopt. I think he does that.
Steve Moore is the chairman of the board of trustees, or president, whatever. I just know my sister works there, so she's kind of filled me in on the hierarchy.
Well,
So
why don't you,
I can reach out to him.
you don't mind getting in touch with them? And, they may be somebody that might jump in and say, okay. But not a bad thought, but I really want to make sure that Steve's on board and you think it's a good idea too. So, and if you think it's not, tell us.
Sure.
Tell us for sure, because, it's sad we have to have these type of things, but it's the world we live in.
Well, like I said, my wife pointed out that the reason this is something that's become what it is that people are not educated, to Steve's point, as to what their options actually are.
Well, you watch the lady's video that's championing this, that's kind of what she said.
Right.
It's exactly what she said.
It's very, and knowing the number of people that come into Southview specifically, that I know, obviously that's the world that I live in, that surrender their child knowingly before they deliver it, that number should be a lot higher based on other things that happen. So.
If we do move forward with this, I would want to do a parallel public education effort right away with it.
Right. Well, that's what I was just thinking about the Wendy Ford at the Community Assistance Center. I can talk to Wendy about cross-education and things of that nature. And Jamie Crydoff, who is teaching health at the high school along with physical education. So I'll make a couple calls there as well.
Right. Thanks. More to come on that. Okay, moving on to new business for planning and zoning. Jeffrey, resolution 5206, second reading for the stage 3.
Yeah, so you saw that at the last meeting, however, I need to update the resolution because I didn't put today's date on all your important stuff. So while you guys go in executive session, I'll make that happen, but ultimately, for the second reading, you guys looked at that at the last meeting, were favorable, so this is just the formality of that action.
Do you need a vote on that second reading? I think you do.
Yeah, truly, that's probably the better location for us to do the vote, even though we did it the last time. This is the formal.
All right. Is there a motion to approve 5206?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Anything else for the planning and zoning?
No, this time, sir.
Okay. And if we're moving on to parks, we have resolution 5209, and it's a resolution to purchase a new tractor and other uses.
Just 20 years old.
Which is amazing.
If you look at that tractor, it looks brand new, but it's just starting to nickel and dime us and it's just time.
Still wrote 21 grand on trade, that's pretty amazing.
Especially when you look at the trade the other two places off,
Again, 13
7 or something.
Yeah.
One of them did it over the phone, didn't even come out.
They were gonna make a lot of money on it. Yeah, they wanted they weren't gonna give you 7 grand.
And like the rear on that was a 2013, but it's about two of those for every tractor, so that's pretty common. So that we'll replace the batwing mower on that again before we replace the mower in the future. So,
Anybody have any questions for Scott about the purchase of the new tractor for the park? Is there a motion to approve this expenditure?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
And Mr. Wade?
Yay. We also have, I guess I jumped, 5209, a resolution to approve the, accept the new mileage calendar, over 93 miles.
Closer to 100 on what we're maintaining. It's not accepted yet for plowing and stuff. So.
They added 1.2 miles and about center line miles, so double that for 30 miles last year. So that'll tell you about all you need to know about how quickly it's growing.
I was gonna ask you, we haven't adopted Hunter's Crossing yet, have we?
Yeah.
I didn't think so. I was asked that yesterday by her, so. And they asked about lighting as well, so we can talk about that offline, but.
Yeah, it's certainly grown since I've been here, 39 miles.
Wow. Yeah, so
I was gonna ask, but you would've had to say it.
Plus the Indian problem. Plus what? The Indian problem.
Yeah.
That's good. Gets better.
Wow.
I say this every time, all I know is it's a good thing that we've got our roads department, because I can't imagine the three of us plowing snow.
I think we'd be a lot busier.
Yes, you would. And John probably would too.
Talk about putting up a lot of mailboxes.
Exactly.
Okay. Did we vote on that? No. Sorry. There you go. Okay. Anything else from the road department?
No, sir.
Moving on to administration.
Wait, we gotta vote on it.
Oh, we didn't vote, okay. Roll call.
I'll make a motion that we accept this.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Okay. Now, anything else, Scott?
No, sir.
Under administration, we have 5210, resolution approving memorandum of understanding with the Clear Creek professional firefighters.
Yes, after we did a substantial revision of the employee handbook, there are a couple of parameters that we wanted to update in the collective bargaining agreements, of which they're in their last year for all three of our bargaining units. So we bring this forward effectively, it influences the resetting the date from the anniversary date to January 1st for ease of administration of vacation. And we have a 3-year plan in place to phase that in, keep the shared difficulty to a minimum, as well as for revision of the questionnaires and the way that we administer that. So those are really the only two components in the MOUs. I ask the board to consider 5210 and then 5211 to that end.
Same for the police officers.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve 5210?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have the same motion for 5211 that deals with the patrol
And Sergeant.
sergeants. The motion to approve 5211.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else?
Not at this time.
Okay, fire district, we have a recommendation to accept the behind resignation of Mark Gersbach.
Yeah, we gave him his send-off prior to his knee replacement surgeries, but the official retirement is in February. So I just wanted to bring this on board and recognize him and thank him for his 27 years of dedicated
He's been
service.
a good member of your team, that's for sure.
Yeah, he'll be missed.
Yeah. Is there a motion to accept this resignation?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Anything else from the fire district? Okay. Chief, Carol, anything from the police department?
Just the first of the year, and that always brings out the new safety studies. We have been named fourth safest community to live in the state of Ohio, and we're 29th safest community to live in the United States. So I thank our public for behaving, and our police officers for taking care of the ones that don't. So it's doing a good job.
That's good. Anybody else around here that made that list?
I think Hamilton Township is behind us at 7th and 39th.
They got some riprap down there.
Mason and Springboro drops down further.
Okay.
And Channel 9 did a little expose on it the other day and left us out.
Oh, that's nice.
Something to note to remind me left us out, but apparently they don't know where Clear Creek is. But there's maybe 4 or 5 agencies in the area. We were the highest in the area of all the agencies that were rated.
Good for you, congratulations.
Bull gets
Nice
loose,
job.
steal ambulance, pay fines.
Yeah, exactly.
A recovery's a recovery.
There you go. Take it however you do.
Okay, consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw? Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Good. Still thinking about the English. Staff updates. Anybody have anything to do? We do have an executive session scheduled, so we can get these in.
Yeah, I'd like the board to consider a day in late February or in March to do a work session together to organize some legislative priorities that will assist myself as well as our team and department heads of the preferred direction we want the board. So if there's a date that we can mutually agree upon, as well as a couple of legislative priorities that you might have in your form, that would be appreciated.
Date-wise, I don't have a date that, as long as I get it scheduled early enough, then I won't have a conflict. But, February 25th, I could not, that would be a bad day.
Well, I can organize it with the board individually, offline.
Yeah,
And we
pick a day and get it in the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, so, good with the rest.
Something at one time we talked about doing quarterly,
Correct.
and I think that would be good. I mean,
Yeah, these are,
with some of the things we've got on the horizon, it would be helpful for the department heads as well if they have something specific that they want to bring forward. Would be good. We can get bagels.
I will organize the date and better order.
That's a great idea.
Perfect.
Okay. March 26th, I cannot. February 25th, March 26th. Okay, cool. Any other staff updates?
I had one
Yes, sir.
question, I'm not sure if Matt wants to touch on it or Russ, but City of Springboro had contacted us about paving Yankee Road, our section, because they're doing the north end and we're doing Crosley. And, you know, if you do want to go that route, I don't know if they're going to need that resolution by February. We may not have a meeting in time, so that might be something you might need to discuss if you want to have the county do that.
Sure. Yeah, I took a telephone call from the city 2 weeks ago, and they volunteered that they were going to be repaving portions of Lytle inside the city as well as Yankee Road, north of Lytle 5. And since we were doing the entirety of Crossley Road, we were effectively mobilized in the same area. So what I said to the city was, yeah, go ahead and price it through your program and let's see what it is. And I asked Scott to price it through the county, which is our typical repaving. I have not received numbers yet from the city, but we do have a county quote. We would have to supplementally appropriate our paving funds by whatever the cost is most likely.
We got the money.
But we do have the money in reserve and for the general fund if the board so desires to do that.
Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stick out like sort of have a quarter-mile section not paved.
Talking to Jeff Jones, he believes with as large of the scale as the county's project is, that the city's price won't be able to touch it, so. But you never know.
Oh, and we need to wait and see. Yeah. We'll just bring it back to this. Good deal. Okay, thanks.
And I know the county they want to put their project together in February, so they would want a resolution by then if we add it to ours. So, that's the only reason why I bring it up, is there may be a time restriction. I mean, county may need a resolution on it before the city even gets us a quote.
We have actually passed our paving resolution already, but that doesn't mean that we can't do an addendum to it.
Okay.
Or maybe we can we might mention to the city, something like that.
Good.
Yeah, get this done. Just to mess us up.
I'll add that to my comments.
Chris? Okay, great. All right. As I mentioned, we have an executive session scheduled. There's a motion to recess this meeting and go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Ingersoll?
Yeah.
Mr. Wade?
Approximately 9:58, and we are out of executive session and reconvening the regular meeting.
We all in agreement on that?
We're all in agreement on reconvening the meeting. Mr. Gabbard? Yes. Mr. Petersball, yes.
Yes, simple, yes, we'll do
Yes.
Yeah.
Procedural change.
Anything else to come before the trustees? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Petersball?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade? Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Mr. Favor, change.
Favor.